Welcome to our Common Sense channel. Today's topic is food is our best medicine. Here's the evidence. Now, Devin Morgan, who is a writer and researcher, will now share the evidence. But just before he does that, Devon's books are available on Amazon, Barnes& Noble, or you can contact him directly using the email in the description below. So greetings, Brother Devon.
Okay, greetings, Brother Taraka.
Can you provide a brief history on where the idea of food as a medicine came from?
Okay, first, some questions for our audience. How should we measure success? What should be number one on the list? Should this be a universal principle that applies to everyone, therefore it should become common knowledge or common sense? What's the answer? The answer is the maintenance of good health. All agree? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, the history of food as medicine. As far as we know, the knowledge started in ancient Egypt. According to historians, there was a man named Imhotep, regarded as a multi-genius by historians. And historians also identify him as the original father of medicine. He is known to have said, "Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food." The current system was founded with the recognition of a Greek doctor named Hippocrates, who, according to historians, studied in Egypt a few thousand years after the death of Imhotep, actually, a few thousand years later. He was eventually regarded as the father of medicine, and he's also known for saying, "Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food." An amazing coincidence, I think. In recognition of Hippocrates as the father of medicine, some doctors take what is known as the Hippocratic Oath during graduation. And yet the medical system they are trained to serve is not based on food as medicine or even natural remedies, which dates back over 60,000 years. The current system has drugs as its main feature.
This is a contradiction. So how did this happen?
Simple, big business took over the system. So let's play the video and for audience to see.
Around the same time that John D. Rockefeller seized U.S. media, he also hijacked U.S. medicine. When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs were declared the gold standard. After buying the German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical.
Rate the current medical system.
Not very highly. But in the era of accident and emergency, they provide a vital service and there is no substitute. However, the system has no cure for any of the major diseases. They primarily treat the symptoms of the disease, not cure. This means you take the disease, but you take the medicines or the drug, but keep the disease. If we apply logical thinking, which is this, the feature of common sense, no one should be interested in this.
Makes sense. Can you give examples of food working as a medicine?
Yeah, but before we do that, let me share some information about the deadliest diseases and how the system recommended dealing with them. In our first video about the 3 eating habits to avoid, we provide a list of diseases that are diet related, and this is going to be a main feature here, right? It's all diet related medicine. So on this list it had heart disease or diet related, cancer is diet related, diabetes is diet related, and kidney diseases are diet related. Also, if you Google the top 10 deadliest diseases, you will notice that there are no cures and the recommendations are primarily based on prevention. No drug is mentioned as a cure. You will see advice such as one, eat a balanced diet that is low in sodium and high in fruits and vegetables. Avoid smoking, drink only in moderation. Number two, in general, healthy habits can reduce the risk of disease. Number three, exercise regularly and maintain good nutrition. Adding more fiber to your diet can help control your blood sugar. Number four, one thing that can be helpful in reducing disease risk is a heart healthy diet. A strange way of expressing that. A diet high in fruits and vegetables, low in saturated fat from meat and dairy, and high in good sources of fats, like you get from nuts, basically.
Mm. So, what are we supposed to learn from this?
Well, the obvious thing that stands out is that the system does not mention any drugs in its recommendation to solve the problem. Therefore, drugs has no place in healing. If it did, they would have said so. It mentioned exercise, change in lifestyle, and fruits and vegetable consumption and nuts. From this, we should learn some vital lessons. It is safe to conclude that diseases are primarily diet related. The system says this as well. The correct diet would stop, number two, the correct diet would stop disease related to diet. That makes sense, right? Since they are diet related diseases. Number three, contrary to what the system teach, dying from diseases is not dying from natural causes. It should be unnatural to die from what we classify as food.
So, therefore, if we shouldn't die from diseases, what should we die from?
In nature, every living thing has a consistent lifespan except us. We can therefore conclude that every living thing has a genetic quote unquote lifespan clock. That means there is a certain period of time that every living thing, and you can Google this and you notice that animals have a consistent lifespan between 15 and 20, and it's very consistent except us. And what this means is that the body, there's a clock and the body gradually loses its ability to produce energy. And this should be the end result of old age, not disease. Diseases, as in our case, mostly.
So, is there any other evidence that food can cure and prevent diseases?
Yes, two examples. First, let's start with the story of scurvy. Let me quote. Scurvy killed more than 2 million sailors between the 16th and 18th centuries alone. It was assumed that 50% of the sailors would die of scurvy on a given trip. A Scottish surgeon in the Royal Navy, James Lynn, is generally credited with proving that scurvy can be successfully treated with citrus fruits in 1753. Nonetheless, it would be 1794 before health reformers such as Gilbert Blaine persuaded the British Royal Navy to routinely give lemon juice to its sailors. And that was the end of the problem of scurvy. We have nothing in comparison with drugs that get rid of a disease just like that. And it's gone, totally gone, never to be returned. Now, if it happened today, they would be in a lab seeking a drug that would never work. The disease of scurvy was caused by a deficiency in vitamin C or ascorbic acid, as it's known. A drug could never solve this problem. Same thing applies to the major disease that causes deaths today. Drugs cannot solve it. If it could, they would have said so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, what's the other example?
Okay, amazingly, they just discovered that food can cure type 2 diabetes. Here is the evidence to prove it.
Leaner, lighter and diabetes-free. Kieran lost nearly 3.5 stone in a supervised diet of soups and shakes containing just 800 calories a day. That was 8 years ago, and by watching his weight, his blood sugar is still under control without the need for medication.
I suppose for me it was a chance to reboot. So when I went to the doctors and they mentioned it to me, I wasn't in a good place. You know, very much overweight. Diet was horrendous, and I was just in a downward spiral. So it gave me a chance to reboot.
A new study shows for the first time that people with a type 2 form of diabetes, which is closely related to obesity, can permanently reverse the condition if they lose weight and keep it off. The diet will now be prescribed by the NHS at a cost of little more than £1,000.
Losing weight helps to restore the normal function of the pancreas, stabilising blood sugar levels. This new research shows the benefits can be lifelong. Keep the weight off, and there's no need for pills and injections, including insulin.
4.5 million people in the UK are thought to be living with type 2 diabetes. Another 2 million are at risk. Every week, diabetes results in more than 180 amputations, 770 strokes and almost 600 heart attacks. And the NHS spends around £10 billion a year, about 10% of its budget, on treating type 2 diabetes and its complications.
There's so many people who sit at home and perhaps join the gym after Christmas, begin to go to the gym once or twice a week, and then that quickly diminishes. So what we've got to try to encourage people is we've got to advertise that weight loss has the biggest impact on our lives. And I don't think many people actually appreciate that.
Losing weight can be tough, and a new appetite-suppressing drug is available on the NHS to people who are clinically obese. For Keith, diet alone was enough, and dodging diabetes is all the motivation he needs to watch the calories.
What can we learn from this information?
If we combine the results in this video with the fact that lemons or oranges prevented the deadly disease of scurvy, if you combine all of this with the number one advice the system gives to prevent the deadliest diseases, which is a diet high in fruits and vegetables, does this give the impression that food is the best medicine to prevent and cure diseases? I think so. This food has to be uncooked though. We already eat our fruits without cooking them. We also eat and cook salad or mixed vegetables with our meals. This is the part of the meal that is the medicine, not the cooked part. We should at least increase it in our daily diet. In a life and death crisis though, we should be on a totally uncooked situation with fruits and vegetables. Fortunately, we can juice them and drink them, make it a lot easier to accomplish this. Okay, that is it now, folks. I thank you for listening, and I hope you subscribe to help this channel grow. Subscribe, make a comment, share the video, like the video, and I will see you next week.
Same from me. I'll see you again next week. So in the meanwhile, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and make a comment.